This week on Life on Jupiter, we find out what happens when all trailer brakes lock up. And finally, our off-grid electrical system is complete. Here's an amazing view here.
After a quarter of a mile, keep right towards Las Cruces.
Where's this road?
Wow, babe. Are we going there? Oh my God.
It's a little tight, don't it?
Wow.
Might need your help outside the radio.
Okay. What's happening, babe? The wheels on the trailer is not turning. I see the wheels are not turning and like jumping. Huh? Yeah, it's not turning.
I'll have to back up and get a little bit further left.
Okay. Baby, it's scratching the trailer. It's scratching at the back. The back of the trailer scratched the ground.
Well, there is a skid. So it's okay now.
Oh, yeah.
And when I was trying to reverse, it was scratching.
Yeah. What's happening?
I don't know. Where's it going? So I think I need to go out, go down the highway, turn around and come back. So we've got a better angle.
What happened?
No wonder I couldn't move. The trailer brakes have got the emergency lock pulled out. Because I guess because they're turning, this is not long enough. Because I got it in a new spot. So the trailer's brakes were locked off. That's why I couldn't move.
I know, babe. It's so weird.
Alright, so we're going to put this up there where I used to put.
Yeah.
Get out of the way. It has to just release the brakes and there was a lot of
Shit.
tension.
That's why I saw the wheels are not turning.
Wow, well we know the emergency brakes work. Well, we've come up with a plan. So I couldn't. So this is where we were, just here. Look, I can see RVs camping out there.
Yeah.
Smaller trailers though.
Yeah.
But I couldn't believe Princess said the wheels are not turning, but I didn't really, what do you mean? You know? And then I found the emergency brake was disconnected, and that's why the wheels were not turning. So I'm pulling a 20,000 pound trailer, skidding it along on 6 rubber tires. No wonder I couldn't get up the hill. We probably could have got in, although it is tight, huh? It's like that. And then getting out would have been the same stress, although it would have been down the hill. But anyway, so we went to the U-turn. Now we're coming back this way. We've found another place. It's dispersed camping as well. What's it called? Dog
campground.
Dog something.
Campground. Dispersed campground.
Yeah. So it looks good on Google Earth.
Yeah.
It looks easy to get to, and it is 22 miles away. I think it's along the foot of those hills.
Mm-hmm.
Have a look. It's along the foot of those hills somewhere. So what time is it? It's 4 o'clock, got an hour and a half of daylight. We better make it into this one. That's the thing with boondocking. You make sure you got an alternative, because especially with the big rigs, some sites are just not suitable, and you got to have a backup plan.
It's pretty over there.
Bit worried about this railway crossing. We just saw one and it looked pretty humpy.
Mm-hmm. This one looks better.
Turn left onto Dog Canyon Road.
It does actually.
Looks more
Oh
wider.
yeah, it's way better.
More wider, you know.
Oh, and there's no hump at all.
Continue on
Yay!
3 miles.
Perfect.
The view.
No train.
No trains.
Wow, you can see to the horizon. It's so flat, it's amazing.
You like this?
It's looking good so far.
Yeah.
3 miles to go. Let's see what we see. Well, good morning.
Morning, guys.
Coming to you from New Mexico, somewhere near Alamogordo and White Sands, which we're going to go visit shortly. We're boondocking here on BLM land, and it's just so nice to be able to do that. Sort of almost the first time since we left this side of the country, you know, like on the east side, boondocking and BLM land is a rare thing, so we couldn't find any, or we were moving too fast through the area to try and find it. But yeah, look at this. Look at this mountain range. So we're taking the hound for a walk. He's got way too much energy and way too many legs. So we're have today here, we're gonna go see White Sand, and because this weather's just amazing. Pretty cold at night time. And boondocking, we've still got the gas furnace, so you know, it's not too bad. But either tomorrow or the next day, we got to leave and go to Phoenix because I go to work the following day. It's always a little bit of a risk, you know, when you come into these unkept roads. So I just realized why we won't come this way.
Oh.
The road is washed away. And there's another one just up there, I see. Yeah, it's important to pick your route. Yeah, we learned a lesson yesterday too. Not that it was our fault, and we didn't try to push it too hard, but we learned what it's like when the brakes come on full lock on the trailer.
At least you have a signal error on your car.
I did. It was saying check trailer brakes, and I'm going, why? They're fine.
Yeah, but you didn't check.
Oh, I just had no clue that they would have been on.
Yeah.
Full lock. Anyway, live and learn. Didn't break anything. Woo, that's good. It's only taken, I would say, 5 months to finish today. I finished the electrical system upgrade on Momo. 99% finished. So it's about time I showed you what it is. Should we start from the beginning? Well, that's outside, on the roof. Let's go and have a look. Alright, it's a little bit windy, hope you can hear me, but it all starts with the sun. I have 1800 watts of solar panel on board, including the amazing Calfa panels, which I have concluded are more efficient than my older panels. The Calfa panels, I'll show you the readings. So I've got them on separate MPPT controllers. I've got the two 250 watt panels over there on a single controller. I've got the 4 170 watts on a single controller, and I've got the 6 100 watters on its own controller, and I have determined they are definitely more efficient. So all the solars run to join into this junction box. It's not actually a junction box. All it does is protect the hole that's in the roof where the wires go down. So I've got 3 strings of solar panels. This box, as I say, simply a waterproof housing to protect the hole, which is about this big. And of course they run to the front of the RV where they go into the MPPT solar controllers. So let's have a look where they run down the wall. That one I got away with really nicely. I'll show you. There's an amazing view here. All right. Up above here is where the junction box is. In here there was already a wiring loom. Let me unscrew it and I'll show you where the cables run from the solar panels. Screws are out. Now gently, a little prying without damage. There we go. There we go. So there is already a wiring loom, and here are my 3 8-gauge duplex cables running my 3 strings of solar down under the floor. Alright, let's go find out where it comes out under the floor. So this is the main basement with all my tools, and here is the lower end of that wiring race. As you can see, all the other wires are going out somewhere. So I've got my 3 strings of solar cables running to a hole there which goes forward into the front cabinet. So let's go up to the front compartment, which I've opened up and put a light on so that you guys can see what's going on. Here is my creation. So here the 3 strings from the solar panels come out through the bulkhead. Each one individually goes to its own MPPT controller. I got this particular spec 150 because it was cheap, and I just made sure my strings did not exceed these limits. 100 volts, 50 amps. So before it goes to the controller, the positive goes through a circuit breaker. Now I see quite a few people on YouTube are using household circuit breakers for whatever amperage they're looking for, 30 amps in this case. And on Amazon they sell them as solar circuit breakers, but they are not. They're not rated for DC. They're AC circuit breakers. So it's really important to spend a little extra money. I could have paid $8 for a household circuit breaker here, but instead I paid $40 for these Blue Seas circuit breakers. So we can stop the current at the circuit breaker here and it will switch off if it reaches 30 amps. So I've just turned on all 3 strings. Some LEDs are starting to flash now. The back end is the Lifetime batteries, 400 amperes each, and I got 2 of them. So we have 800 amp hours. Now the controllers are receiving some power, and I have not yet turned on the master battery switch here. So let's do that. Switch is on. Now you can also watch my video on battery switches, which I experienced on the boat. I had very expensive BEP Marinko battery switches, which I was having trouble with. It was master switch from the alternator to the batteries, and I kept heating them up and cooking them. 200 amp hour alternator, supposed to be 600 amp hour continuous switch, 1500 intermittent, and I was going nowhere near it. I was doing like 120 amps most of the time, but the switch would melt. And when I took it apart, I found that the contact on the switch internal mechanism was tiny. When you have battery cable as thick as your thumb, 1/0 gauge, and then tiny contact inside the switch, no wonder it heats up. Really disappointed in those switches. So I took a gamble on this one. It looked big and heavy. The rating, I think it's for about 350 amps. And it was pretty cheap, but I know spending lots of money does not mean you get quality. Alright, so back up to the flow from once the circuit breaker is closed, goes into the MPPT controller, and then the negative goes to the negative bus bar, the positive goes through another circuit breaker. This time it's been converted from whatever voltage the cells were, perhaps 100 volts in, down to about 13.8 or 14 volts, whatever I've programmed the controllers to do. For the lithiums, I think it's set at 14.1. Okay, got another circuit breaker here, the 60 amp circuit breakers, because I've reduced the voltage inside here and increased the amperage to feed my batteries. And those circuit breakers go straight to the positive bus bar, which is in contact with the battery through a 400 amp fuse. And the negative poles goes through the shunt for the Victron inverter. So here I am to my positive and negative bus bar feeding the inverter. Okay, the black wiring that you can see back in there is all the communications wiring to the Victron Servo GX. And then we have a HDMI output on the Servo GX, which will go to the screen that you first saw in the beginning of the video. The Touch 70 is what I've got. To put these controllers where I wanted them, I ended up having to relocate the slide controls. These are the slide controls. They were on that wall, but I wanted to use the wall, so I just relocated them to the roof and they work fine. Other than that, the 12 volt system of the RV still remains the same at this stage. I am still powering all the LEDs, the fridge when it's on gas, all the 12 volt stuff, the slides, the electric slides, the hydraulic pumps, all powered by these lead acid batteries still. I may change that in the future, but for now they still get charged whenever the inverter's running or whenever shore power is on, because the converter is still making 12 volts from the 120 and charging the battery. So at this point I'm going to leave that like that. I've got the 12 volt, 3000 volt amp, 120 amp multi 2 plus, the one with the 2 times 120 volt, which is perfect for RVs, 50 amps. So I've left the cover off so that you can see. We have the battery wiring going up to the terminals here, nice solid terminals here on the Victron, and then we have shore power coming in if it's available, if shore power is available, and then if it's not available, or in any case, there's the AC one out, which goes down to the transfer switch in the RV. But I've also added another switch. I'll show you that in a minute. For now, let's just turn on the inverter. Alright, let's go and have a look at the other end of this 50 amp AC cabling, and I'll show you the mess I made in there. Alright, follow me into the hole. This is the basement of Momo. You guys have seen in here before. Now, I know this looks like a bit of a mess, but frankly it's no messier than Grand Design left it, so I didn't make it any worse, I don't think. Okay, so the 50 amp Romex cable goes directly down from the inverter under the belly of the RV and then comes out just here, hole in the floor. So my challenge was that when we're plugged into shore power, there's no need to have the inverter on, yet the inverter will only pass through shore power when it's powered. So I wanted to be able to have some sort of transfer switch that I can turn shore power only or shore power and inverter. So that's what I did. For about 25 bucks on Amazon, I bought this switch. I took a gamble, but the switch is pretty good and it's doing exactly what it's supposed to do so far. It's been in a little while now and I'm happy with it. So the shore power is split into feeding the inverter or feeding the RV via that switch that I've installed. And that way, when I'm off at work, Princess is all alone, she doesn't need to deal with lithium battery charging or running the inverter or the solars. She is happy on shore power alone. So that's the way we like it. And then when we go boondocking, of course, click it over to the solars and inverter and batteries. And of course up here is the screen power. That's a HDMI extension cable, and then it's powered by a USB which is plugged in down in that power socket way down in there. Well, that's pretty much it. For the electrical system, I'm looking at the back of the AC distribution board right now, and that is the end of the discussion of the electrical upgrade.
We are in White Sands National Park.
New Mexico.
Yeah.
We were supposed to pay 25 bucks to get in,
Yeah.
but there was no one at the pay booth.
It says closed.
So let's see what happens.
Yeah.
But anyway, we've only got an hour and a half before the park closes. So let's see what it looks like.
Yeah.
So far I just see sort of sand dunes.
Let's see if we can make some footprints in White Sands.
Sure we can. Hey crew!
Hey crew!
We are in White Sands, New Mexico.
Yeah.
I have no idea why they call it that. But
This one.
don't have to explain it, do I? We've got 2 more nights. Tonight we're boondocking way over near those mountains there, and it's beautiful out there.
Yeah.
We got to get some firewood because there's no like trees, there's only small sticks, so we've got to try and buy some firewood somewhere and have a nice fire, sit under the stars tonight.
Yeah.
And got some sausages to cook. Tomorrow we drive halfway to Phoenix, stopping boondocking in a city park. Next day,
Phoenix.
yeah, or just before Phoenix, called Casa Grande. It's just I guess it's an hour, well, 45 minutes southeast of Phoenix, and that's where you're staying.
Yeah, for 2 weeks.
And I go to work. But boondocking properly for the first time,
Yeah.
running all the solars, the inverter, we've had air conditioners running on it.
Yeah.
The electrical system is finished.
Good job. Finally.
It's just taken months. And mainly months because I haven't been here for so long, you know. We want to get back, get some firewood before it gets dark. So
Yeah.
cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Protecting sides of the RV as well.
Copy that. I think we're okay, babe. Just keep going, but slowly. We are stopping.
Another window blew out, and this one was never broken. The screen's gone, that's why they go out. It was locked closed, I checked this one. I don't know how far back, I think it's less than a half a mile. Gonna find the fly screen,